Okay, so today we're going to talk about something that's, well, it's way more than just a bad mood. We're diving into teenage depression. It's this thing that affects so many people, but a lot of the time it's totally hidden. So let's figure out what it actually looks like.
So let me just ask you this. Have you ever felt like there's this, I don't know, this cloud just hanging over you, and no matter what you do, you just can't seem to shake it and feel happy? Or maybe this sounds more like you. You know that feeling of just wanting to be alone? Like you start pulling away from your friends, the people you usually love hanging out with. It can be super confusing, right? Well, that's what we're going to get into today, what these feelings might actually mean. Because honestly, this is such a hidden struggle. The thing about depression in teens is that it's way, way more common than most of us think, but it's also really tricky to spot, in yourself or even in your friends. And check out this number, because it really puts things into perspective. 20%. That means 1 out of every 5 teenagers will experience depression before they're even an adult. I mean, that's a huge number, right? And that's exactly why we have to talk about this. So I thought this was really interesting. The singer Willow Smith, she opened up about her depression, and someone online commented with this exact quote. And it just perfectly nails this huge misconception people have. The idea that you have to have some big, obvious reason to be depressed. And that comment gets to the absolute heart of it. The truth is, mental illness just doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care how old you are, what your family is like, or how good things seem on the outside. It can hit anyone. And for teens, it's even tougher to spot because, let's be real, you're already going through a million changes at once.
Okay, so if it can affect literally anyone, how do you know what to look for? Let's jump into the first of 5 key signs. And it's this persistent feeling of sadness, like that cloud we talked about, but one that just will not go away. And we're not talking about just a bad day here, or even a bad week. This is different. Think about it like this. You have your go-to things that always cheer you up, right? Maybe it's listening to your favorite playlist, or talking to your best friend, or just zoning out with a video game. Well, when this sign of depression hits, those things, they just stop working. So what does that actually feel like in the moment? It can mean that stuff you used to love doing just feels flat, kind of empty. Or you might find yourself getting super down or even crying, and you don't even have a clear reason why. It's just this heaviness that won't leave you alone. All right, but sometimes that sadness doesn't look like sadness at all. It can show up in a really surprising way, which brings us to sign number 2, unexplained irritability. And I want to be super clear here. This is not the same as just being moody. That's a label that gets thrown at teens all the time, and frankly, it's not fair. Yeah, this breaks it down really well. The stereotype is just, moodiness. But an actual symptom of depression can be having a really, really short temper. It's the difference between, say, being annoyed that your brother borrowed your charger and just snapping at your mom for no reason at all. See the difference? So, what's the key takeaway here? It's pretty simple. If you notice a real shift in your mood, one that's sticking around, it's probably a good idea to talk to someone you trust. It doesn't have to be this huge, dramatic thing, but just opening up can make such a difference, even if it turns out not to be depression. And it makes sense, right? When you're feeling down and irritable all the time, that can lead straight into our third sign, feeling totally helpless. This is that gut sinking feeling that things are just out of control, like you've completely lost your grip. But what does helplessness even mean? It's that feeling of being completely out of your depth, like you're lost at sea without a paddle. It feels like you're not the one driving your own life anymore. And look, everyone feels like that sometimes growing up, for sure. But when that feeling just parks itself and stays for weeks on end, that might be a sign of something bigger. And helplessness isn't just one simple feeling. No way. It's more like this big, tangled knot of awful emotions. It can show up as worry or guilt or fear, and it's all mixed together with this deep sense of hopelessness and being totally alone. So when you're feeling that helpless, what do? What's the instinct? For a lot of people, it's to pull back. And that brings us right to sign number 4, pulling away socially. That's when the urge to just be by yourself becomes completely overwhelming. And here's the really important part, the why. Think about it. When you feel that low inside, having to be around people and put on a happy face, pretending everything's cool, it is exhausting. It takes so much energy. So that emotional strain can make it feel so much easier to just not, to just avoid people altogether. And here we are again, back at that same super important point. If you notice this happening, either in yourself or maybe you see a friend starting to withdraw, reaching out is everything. Again, it might not be depression, but just talking about it can keep it from spiraling into something bigger. Okay, on to our fifth and final sign. This one is all about losing the joy in things you used to love. It's like all the color and excitement just gets drained out of your favorite hobbies and activities. And this can look like a lot of different things in real life. Maybe you're suddenly not interested in that after-school club you were obsessed with, or you're thinking about quitting the soccer team or dropping piano lessons. It can even be something as small as not even having the energy to binge watch your favorite show anymore. So let's recap. We've got 5 big signs: that sadness that won't go away, being irritable, feeling helpless, pulling away from people, and losing interest in the things you used to love. And all of that really boils down to the most important question there is. What do you do to help? Whether it's for you or for a friend you're worried about. The first step, always, is just starting a conversation. And hopefully, now you feel a little more ready to do just that.